It's Annette from the Art of Intuition. Today we're going to talk about how we create from our consciousness. Now, I've said a lot of times in videos that everything on the outside is an illusion and it's not really real. And that sparks a lot of people asking, well, then what is it? And when I talk about it not being real, it's not real. It's all an illusion, right? So your inside is going to do a projection. Whatever you hold in your DNA is going to project out to your outer reality. And that happens for different reasons. It's a zillion reasons. One is to show us what's inside. Because in the beginning, if we don't know what's inside, then we can't clear it. So we set up different things in our realities to clear emotions from our body, clear the emotion, raise our frequency. Raise our consciousness. So we raise our consciousness, clear the emotion, because everything that's not that consciousness has to go from the body. And then we start recoding our DNA. Now this is where a lot of people are like, what do you mean recoding your DNA? Well, science would say that 90% of our DNA is junk DNA. In the third dimensional level of consciousness, it's been labeled as junk DNA. Basically, they don't know what it's for. And when you talk about different levels of consciousness, it's not a judgment on it's not a judgment of, oh, that's not a good level of consciousness. It's just a level of consciousness. We all were there at one point, no matter where you go to or where you're going to. We all had to start somewhere, and we all start in a third dimensional level of consciousness. Now, in that level, they don't know what that DNA is for, so they label it as junk DNA. Now, that plays into, why do they label it that? It plays into a lot of different things. The whole purpose of that third dimensional reality is to keep everybody in it. So if you label things certain ways, it doesn't make people want to really look into it. You're going to label something as junk, who wants to look at that? Seems like that's worthless. In that level of consciousness, it is worthless because it hasn't been activated. So you increase your level of consciousness, you expose yourself, basically you're allowing more light to come in your body, and that's kind of the light of your soul. I mean, that's what it is. You're embodying in your soul, the different aspects of your soul. Then we get into galactic aspects with that sort of it's a different video. You embody in more light. That light activates your DNA. Some people will say it rewrites it. Some people will say it activates it. It doesn't matter which way you fall on it. It's morphing it. It's morphing it into something else. Now, even third dimensional level of consciousness will say that light does affect the DNA. It starts to shift. It starts to change. It starts to rewrite your realities. So the higher in consciousness we go, we're now able to rewrite our DNA. Change the projection. We change the illusion. It's still an illusion, but it changes when you're in a fourth dimensional level of consciousness and in a fifth dimensional level of consciousness and higher, up to 12 dimensional and higher than that now. So it's not so much the level of consciousness you're in a way it is, but don't judge where people are. You see a lot of times everyone's judging where everybody is. Oh, well, that's this and that's that. If you're judging it, that's still third dimensional level of consciousness. I don't care where you claim to be. If you're judging what people are saying, that's where you are. At least in the moment you're saying it. Now it goes into a lot of people talking about, nowadays a lot of things are getting censored. And there's a lot of different reasons, things get censored. In the third dimensional level of consciousness, some people get censored because people are going to look at it and go, oh, I'm not being able to say what I want to say. And it gets people to speak up, which is part of the process. If you've never spoken up for yourself, you're going to start to speak up for yourself. Now, if you look at it from a higher dimensional level of consciousness, where we're controlling everything, you're controlling the entire illusion, you're getting censored because you're censoring yourself. You're doing it to yourself. Now, are you doing it so you can bring more power forth to say, no, that's not right? Are you doing it because of what you're saying is playing in third dimensional mentalities? It's playing into levels of consciousness you shouldn't play in anymore? And that's going to be dependent on what you feel about it when you go in and look at it. You always have to go in and look at it. People want to kind of skip that part. Yes, we can use our outside reality to show us what's there. But there comes a time when you do have to go inside and not just rely on what's out there. The outside's going to show you. It's also going to show you the most distorted things. There's a lot of guidance inside that might be a little bit harder in the beginning to tap into because we have so much in the way of it and we don't trust it. Tell someone to go inside and find an answer. That's like telling someone to go telling someone to go on a journey and go hike Mount Everest. Of course you can do it. But there's a lot of work involved in being able to go inside and look at something. And look at something and not judge it. And look at it and go, yeah, why did I create that? Why did this post get removed? Or whatever it is. You see a lot of that now. That's why I kind of bring that up. Because a lot of people are kind of into who's getting censored. It's also to move people off of it. There's a lot of people on social media to move people out of social media. Because now that's becoming something that's shifting consciousness, and you can look at wherever you play in it at, it's where you're shifting at. So you can see where the collectives are, because it's all sort of starting to shift and morph. What do you watch? Why do you watch it? What do you post? What do you play in? What do you share? A lot of times the humans don't share a lot of stuff that's more, I've noticed, humans don't share a lot of stuff that's higher consciousness because they don't want to get labeled it. That is probably one of the biggest things. Everything else can be completely out of the closet in a sense, but you talk about some of the stuff, people like me talk about, where you're talking about everything's an illusion, you're looking at your DNA is getting rewritten, you can embody in galactic aspects, you can tune into your energy, reading minds, all that stuff we talk about. Well, a lot of people don't want to share that because they don't want to get judged by somebody else and go, do you really think that? Why are you sharing that? It's kind of weird. Because different levels of consciousness view different things as weird. If you're in a third dimensional level of consciousness, you're going to look at this or something else and go, oh, that's weird. She's weird. And my running joke is that you have no idea how weird I am. You think this is weird. Holy moly, you don't know what's weird. But when you're looking at something from a fifth dimensional, sixth dimensional, seventh, eighth, ninth, it doesn't matter, pick one. You go back and look at a third dimensional level of consciousness or a fourth dimensional level of consciousness, which is pretty much where the planet is. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are higher than that, but that's where a lot of people are right now. You can tell that by what's going on in the world. Everyone's beating everybody else up. It's going to continue till a lot of that stuff clears from the collectives. I look at that and think that's weird. Like, wow, that's weird. They're weird. They're weird, and that looks more alien to me than if an alien was, when you're looking at different alien aspects of what's alien, look at the word, that's alien to me. Whereas I would be alien to somebody else. So, I don't even know what the title of this video is going to be. I'm not really sure even what I'm trying to say now that I'm usually these are a little tighter. Usually my Twitch stream is a little more ambiguous where I go off for long periods of time and don't really say anything, but looks like this one might be something similar to that where we're just kind of rambling a little bit. But don't judge the level of consciousness, but observe it. There's a difference between observing it and judging it. And if you're judging it, notice you're doing that and look at why and try to clear it. And don't judging the judging of it, but look at it. Everything morphs and changes. Our realities morph and change. Our consciousness affects our realities. We create it. We don't materialize it or manifest it in a sense. We kind of dematerialize something, but creation is a better word, is a higher vibrational word than manifesting. Manifesting sounds like you're manipulating it. Manipulation isn't a word that has that highest vibration. You're creating it. Your consciousness creates the matter. And once you get to a higher consciousness, then you can feel the consciousness of all the matter around you. And you decide what's there and what's not. You decide what you want in that reality and what you don't want in that reality. Based on your level of consciousness, your DNA will morph. It will rewrite. And then the matter changes. There's no way around that. Now, it's not a quick process. It takes time. It could take 2 to 3, 4, 10 years. It depends on what you're working on. Normally, there are 2 years between when you hit a level of consciousness, embody it, and then give your time for your DNA to start shifting so different things start appearing. We have to make room for those things too. We can't cram but so much matter in, so if you're still playing in the old stuff, look at why you're playing in it. What do you still want from that? If you want something or you wouldn't be playing in it. We still kind of want something there. So just be aware of all that. Be aware you have to move things out so new things can come in, but a lot of times it's not overnight. So I'm gonna cut this off so I don't get this too long and then I have to cut it. I don't really want to do that, so. Happy creation, what you're creating, and keep practicing the art of intuition.